Ever find yourself scrolling through like a million TikToks or just like glued to a podcast for like a whole weekend and wonder, how do these creators actually, make money from this?
Yeah.
It's a huge question, especially with how much the creator economy has been blowing up lately, right,
Right.
Ryan? So get ready to dive deep because we've got some brand new research that's going to totally change how you see those like buttons and all those subscription pop-ups.
Yeah, it's actually pretty mind-blowing when you look at the numbers. Like, we're talking about a creator economy estimated to be worth over $100 billion.
100 billion with a B.
Yeah.
But we both know in reality that money isn't exactly like shared out evenly, right?
Right.
A few big-time creators are living the dream, but most are just hustling to make ends meet, which is why figuring out this whole monetization thing is so important.
Absolutely. And that's where our deep dive today comes in, right? We're digging into digital goods with network effects, a mechanism design approach.
All right.
It's new research that really gets into the unique challenges of making a living by selling digital content.
Mechanism design kind of makes it sound like creators are like building robots instead of, making that perfect sourdough bread video.
It sounds way more complicated than it is. Think of it like this. Creators aren't just like slapping a price tag on their content.
Okay.
They're designing like systems or mechanisms to encourage certain behaviors that keep their businesses going.
Yeah, okay.
And you, like as someone who enjoys digital content, you benefit from these systems without even realizing it.
Okay.
It explains why we're seeing more free content with those tip jar options or exclusive communities forming around your favorite creators.
Okay, so digital content, it's different from selling like a physical product.
Yeah.
But how? I mean, a sale is a sale, right?
Not really. Let's break it down.
All right.
If you buy a limited edition, I don't know, vinyl record, there's only one of that exact thing out there.
Right.
You owning it means someone else can't. Economists call this rivalry.
Oh.
Now think about like downloading a song.
Thousands can download the same song, and it doesn't change the experience for anyone.
Exactly. That's what we mean by non-rivalry when it comes to digital goods. But here's the other big difference. Creators can control who accesses their stuff.
Right.
Think about online courses that use logins or paid memberships to access special content.
Right. Paywalls, subscriptions. It's how creators get us to finally hit that subscribe button.
Exactly, and that's excludability, right? So you've got this interesting situation. Digital goods aren't used up like physical ones, but creators can still control who gets in.
Okay.
But then there's another layer, network effects.
Ooh, now this is where it gets really interesting. Network effects.
Huh?
I need a metaphor here to really get it.
Okay, imagine a really busy like farmer's market. The more vendors and shoppers there are, the more lively and valuable the market is for everyone, right?
Right.
More choices, more buzz, just more for everyone. That's a positive network effect.
Okay, makes sense. But too many people all crammed in the market would make it tough to actually find that perfect loaf of sourdough.
Exactly. Too much of a good thing can lead to what we call negative network effects. Like, think about those comment sections that are totally overwhelming, or a small online community that loses its charm because it's suddenly flooded with new people.
So how do creators manage all of this to actually get paid? Seems way more complicated than just like setting a price.
You're totally right. This is where creators become, and this might sound fancy, but mechanism designers, without even realizing it.
Okay, got to be honest. Not familiar with that term. Break it down for me.
It just means creators are building systems to encourage behaviors that benefit both them and their audience. They're basically experimenting all the time to find that sweet spot where everybody wins.
Okay, let's talk about those systems. What are some examples of these mechanisms actually doing their thing?
Let's start with something you see everywhere online. Voluntary payments.
You mean like those tip jars next to live streams?
Yeah.
Or donating to a podcast you like?
Exactly. Now, it might seem like pure generosity from fans on the surface, but there's this economic principle at play called cost externality.
Cost externality? Sounds kind of intense.
It's pretty straightforward, actually. Imagine you find an awesome podcast totally free,
Oh.
but you know they can't keep making it without some income. You'd probably be down to chip in a few bucks, right? Not because you're forced to, but because you want them to keep making the stuff you love.
So it's not just being nice, it's also kind of like self-interest.
Exactly. It's about making sure you can keep enjoying something you find valuable. You're basically saying, hey, this content is worth something to me, and I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is to keep it coming.
That makes a lot of sense. Supporting creators you like, making sure they stick around. It's like they say, you get what you pay for. Except here, you're paying to make sure you keep getting it. But what about those network effects we talked about? How do they fit into this whole making money puzzle?
That's where things get really, really interesting, and we'll dive into that right after this quick break.
Okay, so last time we were talking about how creators can use like positive and negative network effects to actually make money. I'm really curious to hear more about how this actually works, in real life.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go back to that busy farmer's market we were talking about.
Okay.
Remember how having more people selling and buying stuff creates that positive network effect?
Right.
Well, that same idea applies to online communities too. The more engaged users you have, the more valuable the whole community becomes for everyone.
More comments, more discussions, different points of view. It's like a really active online forum, right?
Exactly. And that can actually create a pretty interesting incentive. Users might be willing to pay to bring other people into the community. Basically, they're subsidizing their participation.
Wait, really? Paying to get more people involved? That feels a little counterintuitive. Why would anyone want to do that?
Because having a bigger, more active community benefits everyone involved. Like that saying, our rising tide lifts all boats. The research actually calls this community gifts.
Okay, I need a real-world example here. Still trying to wrap my head around this.
Okay, say you're super into this niche podcast, right?
Okay.
But it's struggling to stay afloat. Now imagine there's a feature where you could give a month's subscription to another listener, someone you know would love it. That's a community gift in action. You're not just supporting the podcast itself, you're making the whole community richer, which actually ends up making your own listening experience even better.
That's a really interesting way to think about it. Never really considered that angle before.
Yeah.
But what about those negative network effects? You can't exactly get people excited about joining a community that's already, like, overcrowded and overwhelming.
You're absolutely right. That's where exclusivity bids come in. They're basically the opposite of community gifts.
Exclusivity bids. Okay, now I'm really curious. Tell me more.
So imagine a creator who offers something like one-on-one coaching or access to a private online group.
Okay.
The fewer people in that group, the more valuable that access becomes, right?
Yeah, it's like getting that VIP treatment at a concert or having backstage passes to meet the band. You're paying for that limited access, the direct connection with the artist.
Exactly. And that's where these exclusivity bids come in. People are willing to pay a premium, like maybe an extra fee, on top of their regular subscription to actually keep other people out. It guarantees that their experience stays special and exclusive.
So they're paying for a level of access and connection that wouldn't be possible in a larger, more open community.
Exactly.
So just to recap, with positive network effects, you might pay to get people in, and with negative network effects, you might pay to keep people out. It's all about finding that sweet spot.
Exactly. And that's where the creator's skills as a mechanism designer become super important. They're always trying to balance that open access, which builds community, with exclusivity, which offers a more premium, high value experience.
And it seems like this mechanism designer idea works whether the creator has a small, dedicated following or a massive fan base.
Well, that's actually where the research throws us a bit of a curveball.
Oh,
Yeah, for those creators with millions of fans, simpler models might actually be the better way to go.
really? Why is that? I'd think they'd have even more options with a huge audience.
They do, but think about it. When you've got millions of fans, what one single person does like, whether they donate or not, join or leave, doesn't impact the bigger picture that much anymore.
So that cost externality thing, the idea that someone might pay to keep things running even if they don't have to, it matters less when there's already a massive fan base.
Exactly. At that scale, just using a simple price like ad-supported content or a standard monthly subscription might be the most effective approach. The economics of running like a huge online empire, they just change when you have that many subscribers.
This is all so fascinating. It's like a whole new lens to view how we interact with and support the creators we love. But what about the future of all this? Are there any big changes coming down the pipeline that could, like, totally disrupt the creator economy?
There's one big one, and it has the potential to completely change everything we've talked about today.
You're going to say AI, right? I can practically hear it coming through the microphone.
Well, it's kind of hard to ignore, right? AI could really change everything about the creator economy, and honestly, we're already starting to see the early signs.
Like those AI chatbots some streamers use to manage their chats. Seems like they're everywhere now.
Exactly. Those bots are handling a lot of the basic community stuff, which frees up creators to focus on the good stuff, actually making the content. But now imagine that, but way bigger. What if AI assistants could handle those exclusivity bids we talked about, maybe even change the access and prices in real time depending on demand.
Whoa, hold on. You're saying instead of a creator manually managing all those different tiers and price points, their AI could just like handle it all behind the scenes. That would be insane.
Yeah. It'd be like having a 24/7 virtual manager for your whole online community. But it goes even further. Imagine if AI could help creators actually understand those network effects as they're happening. An AI assistant could analyze like the vibe of a live stream chat, spotting when those negative network effects, things like viewer fatigue or way too many comments, when those start popping up.
And then like suggest ways to deal with those negative effects. Maybe suggest the streamer switch to a more exclusive format for a bit, or offer some kind of bonus content to get their main viewers back on board.
Exactly. AI could help creators not just react to, but like actually predict how their audience is feeling and what they're going to do next. It'd be like having a crystal ball to see when people are about to tune out or when a big wave of new members might mess with the vibe of a tight-knit community.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This is wild. It's kind of crazy to think how much AI could totally transform the creator economy. But all this talk about algorithms and virtual assistants, it makes you wonder about, like, the human side of it all. Will creators get too dependent on AI? Or are we going to lose that personal connection that makes these online communities so special?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's tough to say for sure. I think that creators who really thrive will be the ones who find that balance, using the power and efficiency of AI, but still making sure to build genuine connections with their audience. It's about using these tools to make things better, not to replace the human element that's at the heart of all of this.
This has been an amazing deep dive. Seriously, eye-opening and really got me thinking. We've covered everything from, like, what is a digital good to the crazy world of network effects, and now this future where AI could totally flip the script on the whole creator landscape.
It really shows how fast things are moving and changing in this space. What works today might be totally different tomorrow. It's exciting and a little scary for creators all at the same time.
Absolutely. And listeners, we want to know what you think about all of this. How do you see AI changing the creator game? Will it be a good thing? Or will it lead to this less personal, more automated online world? Head over to our socials and tell us what you think. Until next time, keep diving deep.